Welcome back, film fans, to another episode of The Usual Skeptics. My name's Wes. With me as well is Gabe. How you doing today, buddy?
Hey, I'm doing all right, man. It's good to be here talking some Star Wars, some Obi-Wan. I see we got both of our Star Wars shirts on. I got my Lucasfilm. You got your Yoda. So excited, man. What we got for us today, brother?
All right, my friend. So, like Gabe said, today we're going over Obi-Wan episodes 1 and 2. This is going to be our spoiler video. So if anybody hasn't seen it yet, please go watch it. Come back and watch us. We would really appreciate it. So let's dive right in. So Gabe, I'm going to hand it off to you. I know you're a huge Star Wars fan, and let's get started.
All right, man. So, like you said, spoilers. If the title and our voices did not make it any more clear, please click away, go watch the episode, come back. We're not going to do a play-by-play of every single scene, just kind of talk about our highlights. So you're sending it to me first. Is it because I'm the Star Wars nut?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So overall, I really, really enjoyed these episodes. The anticipation, going in, I think it's important to talk about first is, everybody hates on the prequels. I mean, there are things to like about the prequels. They are widely disliked. I do know several people who think the prequels are amazing, and you know what? That's totally fine. Me personally, I mean, I find the good in them. I really do. I try to find the good in movies, but definitely the negatives outweigh the positives for me in those sense. One of those things that Obi-Wan is just not the case. Obi-Wan as a character has been one of the best things to come out of that trilogy. I mean, Ewan McGregor just knows what he's doing. I mean, anything from Moulin Rouge. This guy just knows how to act. This guy is a fantastic actor. And when they announced this show, I think it was originally going to be a movie, but once they announced the show, I was so excited. Other than the stereotypical, Luke be most people's favorite Star Wars character, Obi-Wan is right up there for me. He's just seeing him and Alec Guinness, the way he portrays him, in the original trilogy, and then see him in the prequels. This is something that we've kind of, there was a gap there, between the events of Revenge of the Sith going into A New Hope. So what was that 20 years? What was Obi-Wan's story in 20 years? Was he sitting there taking a dump and, with that Jawa that he was with in episode 1? Was he just hanging out with that Jawa for 20 years? Who knows? But we're getting some answers here. First off, I love how we found Obi-Wan. This is a character who is definitely conflicted. He's being traumatized. I think it said 10 years later, but it's been 10 years since the events of Revenge of the Sith. So, getting all that out of the way, you threw us right in there with the opening scene of the clones attack. And I think we're going to revisit that in later episodes, which I thought was dude, how great was it to see finally some lightsaber battle. That was pretty dope. And one of my negatives across Star Wars as a whole is the lack of lightsabers. And we've talked about this before, but we've talked about how, Star Wars, it doesn't have to be Jedi every single scene, every single project. We've had Rogue One, no Jedi. Well, I'm not saying you have to have Jedi every time, but I think everyone can agree that there was a lack of lightsaber battles. And, I think it opened up with a great start. Deborah Chow, I think she's directed every single episode for this series. Deborah Chow is fantastic. She's worked on everything that you can think of. I mean, she's a phenomenal director. I felt like the direction felt great. I thought the pacing and the cadence of both episodes just worked for me. I didn't feel one bit of, this is dragging, Now I did, I'm going to go with my negatives just for a little bit. And again, we haven't talked about this, but one of my negatives is, when we first see Leia, I kind of thought, okay, are we kind of moving towards, why are we doing this? I mean, obviously that's Luke's sister, but why are we focusing on Leia? Obviously by the end of episode 1, I was like, okay, gotcha. But let me tell you, dude, the actress playing her, she's great. I'm loving that sass. I'm loving
I was gonna say the same thing. I was like, dude, by the end of the second episode, I was like, brilliant. Like, she is like to be as young as she is, and to like the way she was just acting and pronouncing all, like, just, it blew me away. I was like, dang, how old is she? Like, this is great. So I really enjoyed her as an actress, at such a young age. And the thing is, I saw Natalie Portman in her. Do you get what I'm saying? And and I know that's what they were trying to portray. It's like brilliant. Like, whenever he looks down at her and he's like, I see, I just see somebody in your.
I was just about to say that. I was like,
yeah, you did.
And,
you know what I mean?
And I really love, not to cut you off, but to really, that goes back to the fantastic direction of a Deborah Chow, who's, she's done episodes of Mandalorian, and some of the best episodes of Mandalorian, in my opinion. I think she's great at what she does. She's a great storyteller. She's one of those, she doesn't take it in BS type of directors. I think she really, is all about story, and I'm really digging the story so far. Now, I don't believe Leia is going to be the MacGuffin of the entire series. I think it's just what's going to launch Obi-Wan as a character to where he needs to be. Obviously, he's going to fight the Inquisitors. We've seen a little bit there, but I'm going to try and hover around episode 1 for a minute, just to kind of give my general thoughts about the first episode. And again, Leia, the sass, digging the Leia character so far, and we'll talk about her in a minute in the episode 2. But I really dug that. I really did. One of the things that that was really probably my only negative, to be honest with you. I thought, and seeing Flea was actually kind of cool from Red Hot Chili Peppers. Now, we've known for a while that he was going to make an appearance in here. Completely caught me off guard, and I was like, oh, that's Flea, so that was kind of cool. Very short-lived, and you know what, it is what it is. But
I think he did great. For what that
little minuscule role, but it was fun. I mean, no doubt he's a Star Wars fan. It was like, hey, this will be kind of fun, so they got him in there. So I thought that was great.
But he's also been in other movies, so I mean, he does know what he's doing. It's not like, oh, well,
give him a main character role, And I mean, what he served, I thought worked very well. Again, the direction I thought was great. The music, it's Star Wars, so the music's going to be there. The fantastic John Williams composed Obi-Wan theme. Yeah. Now, it's not, the full thing's not composed by John Williams. I mean, he's up in his 90s. This guy's getting some work with his, I think he's got like 400 million Oscar nominations and wins. So to have him do Obi-Wan's theme, exclusively, I thought worked. I thought it flowed with the story, flowed with the narrative. I love the Uncle Owen and Obi-Wan confrontation. We've seen a little bit of that in the trailer, and seeing it in full force in the first episode, I thought was great. But I'm going to focus on Obi-Wan.
He's just like, I didn't, he's like, hey, I didn't do that for you type deal.
Right. Oh, that was dope.
That was good for the story.
He was not scared of those Inquisitors. And even though people are, you have to show Uncle Owen, and that flows directly into A New Hope, where, Luke's asking, he's like, hey, who's this? Who's Ben Kenobi? He's like, oh, that's just an old hermit. Uncle Owen, he doesn't want the same fate for Luke, then, because that's his parent right now, So I thought the Uncle Owen stuff was great. I thought Obi-Wan kind of showing his daily life. What has he been doing for the past 10 years? Well, what has he done? He's given up. He's given up on the Jedi Order, and he tells that one guy, we lost, and come to find out later that the Inquisitors killed him, probably interrogated him. They're looking for Kenobi. They know he's there. No doubt Vader had these Inquisitors themselves, because Vader's kind of weak. I mean, we have heard stories, and we have heard even Hayden Christensen himself say, look, this series Vader is full force Vader, which I mean, and if it comes up that he is great, but you have to take that with a grain of salt, because Vader, he's still trying to heal. I mean, this is a damaged, that suit is keeping him alive. Well, he can't stay in that suit 24/7, so when he's out of the suit, he's got to be in the back to tank, and we've seen that at the end of episode 2, which again we'll talk about here in just a little bit. But again, just to clarify and finish up with episode 1's thoughts is, the only negative for me was I kind of felt the story kind of halt a little bit when it got to the Leia stuff, and I'm like, okay, what are we doing here? But let me tell you, by the end of episode 1, I'm full into the Leia character. I'm loving the character so far. The Inquisitors, I'm loving, or those that are left. The current Inquisitor was very short-lived, and that's fine. I'm really loving, I believe her name, oh gosh, forgive me, I can't remember her name. I think Moses Ingram or something like that.
Sister number 3.
Right, but I mean the actress.
Third sister.
But the actress's name, I think it's Moses Ingram. She's great. We just seen her in Queen's Gambit. She's awesome. I think she did really good, and she kind of made a comment where to that other Inquisitor was, basically, what did she say? Like, I have to prove myself or something. I thought that,
Right.
it's like, ooh, what are they? Is she trying to prove herself to Vader? Is there something that she's, and they drop Vader by name in the second episode, but episode one, thought it was quite solid, very solid opening. I thought it was great. Going into episode two, again, no negatives. I thought that had perfect, cadence
Hey,
to me. The
let me
story just
talk about
flowed. So,
my negatives
yeah,
for
so
episode one.
that's what I was gonna say. So let me send it to you. What did you think, bud? What was your positive negatives about that?
Okay, so that whenever I called you today, and after I watched it, I was just like, okay, episode one's done, and bro, like I was just like, it's for me not growing up with that, and it being meaning so much to me because like I watched them, but it just wasn't my thing. This is my thing.
You're on board.
Yeah, dude. I really, really enjoyed just sitting and watching it and just the whole aspect of things. Now, going off my negatives, one of my negatives was I felt that first episode drug on a little long whenever they were just repeating what he was doing every day. Like, okay, I saw him at the meat market, cutting meat, doing all that.
Right.
I don't need to see him riding his camel looking thing back to his little cave. It was just drawn out for me.
You kind of felt like, okay, I get it. Move on.
Correct. Move on just a little bit quicker. But that was like my only negative I had.
And that's
everything
great.
Else.
Yeah.
I was like, wow. Concept wise, I thought that I think it's the sixth brother or something like that. I don't know.
With the weird Raiden looking character.
I was like, dude, he looked like a character from Mortal Kombat.
He does.
Now, and another thing, I was like, why'd they have to give him that weird helmet? But I saw like it makes sense with the lightsaber, fight at the beginning. They had the helmets that sort of looked like that.
Right.
It fits the concept and I get it, but I was just like, man, he looks like Raiden really bad. But that being said, I also thought that, the main Inquisitor, he looked like he had Beats headphones for ears. And it just wasn't, for me, I was just like, you look like you got Beats on. Like, what kind of, I was like, bro, what kind of, like, what are you listening to? But that was, that's just me. So
Beats by Inquisitors.
Beats by Inquisitors.
Find at your local Best Buy. Yeah.
I mean, go back and look at it. Like, tell me he doesn't look like he got Beats on. So that being said, that's my only like concept that I was just like, man, like he just looked like, and he looked so cool from a straight on shot.
The Inquisitors
like,
looked
man, this
great.
Dude, they did. And I was like,
great.
Man, they look so good. And then he turned to the side, and I was like, bro, you look. He looks like he's got Beats headphones on.
Okay.
You ain't, and I know people ain't gonna get that out of their heads now.
Right.
But he looks like he got Beats headphones on. Besides him looking like he's a DJ,
Inquisitor's DJ.
Inquisitor's DJ.
He's menacing.
He's very menacing. He portrayed it so well. Like I was like, man, I would be far up to say that if I was like, if this was real, I'd be like, holy crap, man. Like he looked so, and like I said, he looked great, dude. He looks so good. Yeah. And the actor is I don't like, the acting was great. And for him to meet his final doom, it kind of took me by surprise, to be honest with you. I thought he would be there for a while, man.
I did too. They really flipped the script on us on that because, having him come in, you're kind of looking at him as, oh, he's the head honcho right now. Now we knew Inquisitor Reva, might be pronouncing that wrong, but the third sister, is it Reva? Okay. Reva, they really flipped the script on her in the second episode where, I'm in charge, and I'm not going to lie. I kind of thought Obi-Wan was going to go toe to toe with her in the second episode. I thought that was pretty dope. But speaking of that, let's go on I'm going to flip it on you this time. Going on our, in the second episode, I think we're both in agreement on the first episode. Pretty solid premiere. There was a couple things that we kind of, thought was kind of iffy, but you know what? It's a little nitpicking at that point. But as far as everything goes, pretty solid episode. What did you think about episode 2? What was some of your negatives?
Okay, so I'm going to talk about the negatives that I had for episode 2. And to be honest, really didn't have any for episode 2. I was like fully into it. I really enjoyed the second episode a little bit more than the first episode. And I really enjoyed my favorite part of that entire episode was Leia, and the acting
Dude,
that she portrayed.
such a standout.
Knocked
Such
it
a
like
standout. Yeah.
knocked it out of the
She
park,
really
man.
did.
It was
Really did.
really good to see her and Obi-Wan going back and forth, and then her asking,
Granddaughter,
like,
maybe.
well, it was so good. The
Good
comedic timing was so good. And her and Obi-Wan, whenever she's trying to, what really got me, man, was whenever she thought about it, critically, and was like, hey, what if you're the you're the person that I'm supposed to be afraid of? Yeah, very smart.
Very
and I was
smart.
like, and then you start to see, like, I started to see a Natalie Portman portrayed through her. You know what I mean? Like, it was just, I was like, yeah. So I think that we're both in agreement with Leia being the star of the second episode. I mean, and that's how I feel. Reva's character, man,
Dude.
putting a bounty on Obi-Wan without having the head Inquisitor's approval, and him coming in and saying, well, you stay here. You know what I mean?
Right.
And I'll bring him in. Yeah. And her going behind his back.
I'm
and
doing my own way.
I was like, dude, it's about to happen.
Savage.
She is a savage, man. And like I said, she just did a great job of becoming the main villain, because like you said, it comes in, and that head Inquisitor, I was like, oh man, he's probably going to be a really cool villain, a really cool,
formidable foe. These are going to be cannon fodder for Obi-Wan. Obviously, him and Vader are going to fight. I mean, we've seen concept art recently of them two fighting, and it was updated older Obi-Wan, and it was Vader in his full suit. So yes, we're going to, dude, they would not, and I mentioned this before, they're not bringing Hayden, they're not going to go through the trouble of bringing Hayden Christensen back, and with that little tease at the end of episode 2, to not have Vader. And I'm not talking about they talk about Vader and then camera cuts to Vader going, and kind of doing some weird, I don't know what this was, but whatever. They're looking at my shiny helmet. They're not going to be bringing him back just for a teaser. I think you're going to piss off. And I mentioned this before too in one of my TikToks, by the way, which you can find at Voice of Film. Just search on TikTok there. But one of the things that I mentioned was, you can make an original show like Mandalorian, and we'll go back to Obi-Wan in a second, but I feel like this is relevant. But, we can you can make an original show, The Mandalorian. And you know what, if they messed it up, then, oh, well, you know what, they tried. Star Wars is a big place, and there's a lot of characters. So yeah, try something new. There's something for everybody. Try something new. And if it works, great. If not, we have the rest of the great Star Wars movies that we have. So it's not a big deal, right? Well, guess what? Mando ended up being a huge success. You know what? They come out with Boba Fett. Again, you can mess up Boba Fett. You really can. I mean, yeah, that it's not a legacy character, but it is a character that's revered among Star Wars fans as, it's Boba Fett, man. I mean, I do have a hot toy pre-ordered of Boba Fett, which I love, and Tamora Morrison does a fantastic job. Does a fantastic job as Boba Fett, as he did in The Mandalorian season 2, which his introduction, bro, with that club was awesome. But the show comes out, and you know what? To me, I didn't like it. Overall, I didn't like it. There was a few things that I liked about it. Overall, didn't like. But to say all that, to say this, you come out with Obi-Wan. If you mess up Obi-Wan, dude, I was so worried going into episodes 1 and 2. I'm not going to lie. Even though I had so much anticipation for this show,
until I called you and you were like, oh, this guy really isn't into Star Wars. And now
I'm like, he likes it. And you know what? That really made me go, okay, I think we're in for a treat here, because I think the show, I mean, yes, it's mainly to get people to subscribe for Disney Plus, but you also want to have good quality content that pleases, Star Wars, not to please Star Wars fans, but it's Star Wars. So you want to make it as, good as you can, right? For everybody, not just Star Wars fans, but for new audiences and for someone like yourself. I mean, you've even said, hey, wait, I mean, I'm not the biggest Star Wars fan, but I like it enough to, watch it. There's things in there that I enjoy. You've mentioned that you love Mandalorian and that it works for you. Hearing your thoughts before I got the chance to see the show got me really excited and interested. And dude, now this show can completely crap the bed. Episodes 3 on completely crap the bed. But since we're just talking about episodes 1 and 2, solid start, man. But to say all that to say this, they can mess up. They can mess up Mandalorian. They can mess up Boba Fett. The clone. What was it called? The Bad Batch. I don't care about that. That's not a main show. I mean, that's just whatever. It has its fan base. That's great. Just not for me. But you mess up Obi-Wan, dude. I'm so glad they got Deborah Chow in here. They got Ewan McGregor back. I'm really loving where we have the Obi-Wan character right now. Such a solid start. I really dug episode 2, and I actually think episode 2 was even better than 1. I mean, I don't know. What do you think? What's some of your best takeaways? I mean, it doesn't sound like you have any negatives. So what's your main takeaway from episode 2?
So I just want to say that so I wanted to go and talk about one thing that really I watched it and I was just like, Ewan McGregor is amazing. Whenever he finds out that Anakin is still alive,
dude, you feel it. You feel it all over him. His face, yeah.
The cinematography for that was great, and it was just like you felt his emotions just hit him all at once, and it just and then Leia's sitting there like, "What's wrong?" Yeah, it's just like you're just his emotions. You're just like, oh man, this dude has it just crushed him. You know what I mean? Because he had been thinking for so long that he was dead, and then for him to show up,
Vader's the puppeteer,
her to show up and say, "I can feel you." Oh, you didn't know. You know what I mean? And then him just being like, oh no, you know what I mean?
He's alive. Yeah.
Yeah, dude, I can't wait to see what they have in store for us. Like you said, they can shit the bed.
They really can. They really can.
But at the same time, I really don't think that that's going to happen. And I'm hoping that it doesn't happen because this is the first time, like I said, that I've been into a Star Wars genre of film / series. You know what I mean? And I think it's great. I was pleasantly surprised, is what I told you, and I hope to be pleasantly surprised later on. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that's my takeaway from it. I feel like as long as they do the Darth Vader right, like you said, and don't, shit the bed
for a quick cameo, yeah.
Just a quick thing. For a purpose. I really don't think it's going to happen. They've had, like you said, they've gotten Hayden Christensen back. There's no way they're just going to be like, hey, one off. Here you go. Now,
I will say this about Vader. We'll talk about Vader for a second. Is I really, and we'll see what you think about this. We seen Vader a lot sooner than I expected. I mean, we didn't see him in full Vader, but I didn't expect to see him this soon. And the episode to end on, with Obi-Wan, with the realization of, holy crap, Anakin's alive. This whole thing, to him, he probably thought, I killed him. He didn't go over there and cut his head off, but he left him to die.
Right.
And that's where we last seen Obi-Wan, see Anakin. He didn't see Emperor come down and pick him up. He knew that he was Vader, but he didn't know that he survived. And to see that realization on him and the way Ewan McGregor played that, I thought was great. And I felt it as an audience member. I felt it. And I thought that was great how the camera, held on him for a minute. And as he's trembling, not only emotionally, but physically, his face just like you could see it in his eyes, and Ewan McGregor just absolutely knows how to play that. And I think that's great.
So great.
The episode 2, it had, again, going back to the direction, I think under Deborah Chow doing the rest of these episodes, I think we're in for a treat. I think this was a great, solid start, a really good premiere, really set the stage for all the characters. And again, going back to the fact that I love where we found Obi-Wan I given up. The Jedi lost, and we tried. We lost the war. The Vader had, or not Vader, but the clones have won. The Emperor has won. And to come to so I'm gonna leave this with you. So basically, all of our thoughts on the show is pretty solid start. Very light negatives. Not the greatest thing in the world, but it don't matter. It's a really solid start too. I think it's going to be a great show. And that's all we can ask for. But I'm gonna leave you with a couple questions. Question number 1, and then I'll give you my answer. Do you think, because I've kind of changed my mind several times about this, do you think Liam Neeson is going to make an appearance as a Force Ghost by the end of the season or series?
That would be really cool, but I don't think it's going to happen.
But do you think it would have, do you think that it would be, on top of your head, do you think it would be just a cheap pop, or do you feel like they could use it as, for narrative purpose and reason? Because it was heavily mentioned once in the kind of catching up on Obi-Wan in the 4-minute opening to the episode, kind of give us a catch up on Obi-Wan. Now, I'm putting my tinfoil hat on here, but at the end of episode 3, Yoda tells him, I'm gonna teach you.
You can see him
as a Force Ghost. So, and then when Obi-Wan's asleep in his cave and he wakes up, he's like, Qui-Gon. He mentions him by name. Like, are you there? But Obi-Wan has disconnected himself from the Force. It's kind of almost like, well, once he reconnects fully, and we've seen how he struggled even to catch Leia. He struggled really bad to try to catch her. And that really, I think, affected him as, I'm not using the Force. I'm not going to use my saber unless I absolutely have to. And for him to be able to catch her, to him be able to tap back into that Force, Obi-Wan's not just a regular Jedi. This guy's a Jedi master. I mean, even though we left him as a Jedi Knight, I'm sure he's trained a little bit even since then, but he legitimately given up. And I thought that was a great creative choice for the character. And I thought it made complete sense. And moving forward, I think that's going to be really special moving for the rest of the series, because you see that character dynamic and you see how this character, moves and, his emotions, and how he left, Anakin where he left him. It kind of brought us to a point where, is Obi-Wan going to be the same? Is he just going to be watching after Luke? He obviously went off world. So there's a lot of things that they're doing with the character, and the choices that the Obi-Wan character is making that is consistent with the character, but also makes sense. Like him giving up.
I didn't even think about that. Like,
right. You see what I'm saying?
Thing. But now that because it gave the recap at the very beginning, and now I'm like, well, maybe they will, because they brought him into the recap, and I was like, I forgot about that.
Because if you hark back to the original trilogy, when Obi-Wan passed away, he was able to connect with Luke. Now, I also said before Obi-Wan come out, I said, look, I think this show's going to break canon, and I don't care. Sorry, at this point, I do not care. I don't care if you break canon. I absolutely don't care. Just tell us a good story. Tell us, we know it takes place in the universe.
Which they have for the first 2 episodes.
Right. But so far they really, maybe they have, I just didn't see it, but so far they haven't broken canon. To me, everything's been consistent with the original trilogy. But harken back to, talking about Obi-Wan and maybe will we see Qui-Gon, but how did he learn to become a Force Ghost? That was a new ability that they were able to do. And study. Obi-Wan, how did he just know how to do that? I mean, they can easily answer that by being like, oh, that's one of the main things the Jedi trained to do. But do they? Because when Yoda said, at the end of episode 3, he's like, I've been talking to your old master, Qui-Gon. And he's like, Qui-Gon, so I just wonder if we're going to see that in the future. Who knows? Maybe we'll see. That'd be really cool. I think it'd be pretty dope. I just hope it's not for a cheap pop. I hope it's not just for a cheap cameo. I think it'd be great. Kumail Nanjiani was great in this episode too. I thought he was funny. I don't think we'll see him again. I actually think
but that was awesome.
That was so fun.
I completely forgot about talking about his character.
I know, we completely forgot, and it's so funny because he wasn't
like a main.
No.
But
it was hilarious. Yeah,
he was great. He was
the
hilarious.
Comedy worked. It had a lot more comedy than I thought that maybe we would expect from a series like this, such as Obi-Wan. we get it from Mando a little bit, kind of telling Grogu, hey, don't do that. And then in the background, you kind of see him doing something. Like the comedic timing works. And I think for
Where
this series,
Leia
I
was
think it
in
works.
the where they were like trying to hide, from everybody,
Oh my
and
God.
then she like starts putting on the gloves, and he's like, "You don't need those."
And
He's
then he
like,
looks back at her. Yeah.
he's like, "And the
And the
gloves."
gloves. I'm digging a lot about this show. I'm so
Yeah,
excited that this show's working. I'm not gonna lie, I was a little worried at first. I'm having fun with it. It sounds like you're having fun with it. But we're
yeah.
gonna leave the question with you guys. What do you all think about the episodes? What do you think about episodes 1 and 2? Is this what you expected? Let us know in the comments. Wes, where can people find you, my friend?
People can find me at Wes Rathbone 86 on Twitter. Gabe, I'm going to send it back to you. Let them know how they can support us and where they can find you, my friend.
All right, guys. Again, you can. My name is Gabriel. You can find me here at Voice of Film, simply at TikTok and Twitter. Post a little bit there. I post daily videos on TikTok. Now, normally we won't do spoiler videos the day of a premiere, but Wes and I both have a lot of work to do. We have a lot going on this next week, so next week's going to be a little weird. We still haven't figured out how we're going to do Wednesday's episode 3. We've been thinking about considering kind of moving that into episode 4, kind of doing it both, but we're going to we're going to do a little bit differently next time. So, but if you've stuck here this long, I'm sure you've seen the episodes. Again, let us know what you think in the comments. It's been a pleasure. Wes, thanks, man. This has been
Been a
fun.
pleasure, my
I
friend.
can't wait
Have
till
fun on your vacation.
Yes, sir.
We have lives too.
We have lives too.
That's why we do these things.
Got a lot going on. But again, this was fun. I think we're off to a great start. Such a fantastic, way to start this. It doesn't need to be the best thing going on right now, but just entertain us, give us something fun. And right now, I have very little to no negatives about this show so far. I think it's great. There was a reason they dropped the first 2 episodes, and just a quick note, a lot of what we've seen in the trailers, we've already seen in episode 1 and 2.
Yeah,
So that
that's
gets
what I
me
was thinking.
super, super excited for what's coming next. Who knows? Maybe we'll see Vader, maybe in full force. Maybe we'll see him
man.
fight off with Obi-Wan. Who knows? We'll see. I think they're saving him for something special. I can't wait to see it. Again, Wes Rathbone, thanks,
I just
man.
want to also
yeah.
shout out to all of our viewers that we have had. And
Yes.
thank you guys so much. We appreciate it. This is something that we do just for fun.
It's fun.
But man, it's we're excited about it. So thank you guys very much, and continue to subscribe and watch our stuff if you like it, and if you don't, it's okay.
Yeah, guys, and we've had the support link here at the bottom. You can find the link in the description of this video. That's streamelements.com/theusualskeptics/tip. You can submit a comment, question if you want to support the channel. That would be great. That benefits both me and Wes here, and we greatly appreciate, again, the viewers that we've had. We've had a lot more than we thought we did. We're just 2 best friends coming together, talking about entertainment news, movies, streaming in this case, and all kinds of good stuff. So, just check back regularly. You can find us posting daily content on our channels here. So come give us a shout out. We appreciate you all for joining us, and we'll see y'all in the next video.